If you're a member of Chase or you're thinking about going to Chase because of their credit cards, I'm going to tell you which credit cards you should get. Now, let's look at the first two credit cards, and we're going to be talking about the easiest credit cards from Chase. All right, we're talking about the easiest credit cards from Chase. All right, usually like your student credit cards, your Chase Freedom Unlimited, and your Chase Freedom Flex. These are going to be your easiest credit cards. Now, here's the thing about it, many people don't know. If you have a thin credit file or you're just brand new to getting credit, then Chase may just automatically give you a Chase Freedom credit card. This is their easiest beyond the student credit card. So with the student credit card, let me digress something so you understand. If you go after the student credit card, if you put your institution, your education institution on that thing, they may reach out and see if you are a student. Not all the time, but they tend to, every now and then, they may want to check to see if you're actually a student, to see if you really qualify for that card. Okay? And there are several banks that offer the student card that will just ignore you being a student, but at the same time, if you're a student, you want to put that email with the .edu on it. Okay, that's just a key if you're trying to get a student credit card. All right, now being a student credit card, that means that you can be 75, 90 years old and you can still get a Chase student credit card. Okay. So it doesn't limit you because of your age, because I know a lot of people think because of their age that, well, even though I'm a college student, I may not get this card. Yes, you will. Okay, long as you are a student. Now, again, the key to that is making sure that you put your student email on the application. Okay, that's one key thing you need to know. Moving on, now let's say that you have a real low credit score, okay? Then the Chase Freedom Unlimited is going to be your easiest, okay? I would say this. I would say if you're below a 650 and you're with Chase, and here's the key with Chase, okay? If you at least 6 months or older, then with their relationship, then you'll get this here, Chase Freedom Unlimited. All right. Now you having a 650 or lower credit score, okay, and you've been with them at least 6 months. This is the credit card you have the highest chance of being approved for. If you're over that 6 months, okay, and you're over that 650, then you can look at this here credit card. Now the reason that I like this Chase Freedom credit card, and again, as you notice, I'm not talking about 680, 690 credit scores going into Chase. I'm talking about like low sixes. People have gotten a Chase Freedom card with a 300 credit score. Okay, so that's the reason I say that. So even if you're new, but you just open up a bank account with Chase and stuff like that, you will probably have a higher chance going for this here card. Now, moving back over to this Chase Freedom card, this is very interesting. The reason I like this card is because of the 15 months of purchases, zero interest on purchases, and balance transfer. This is why I think this is one of the best credit cards that I think that Chase offers. That's one of the key things I always tell you guys. When you're going after a credit card, even with a major bank. Now, Chase is a tier 1 bank. Okay, you guys hear me talk about tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and 4 banks, right? So Chase is a tier 1 bank, okay? Now, granted, what that means is that with the tier 1 banks, they become a little more conservative if you're brand new to them. If you don't have large deposits and everything, they become a little more conservative. Okay, so that's the reason I tell people, if you're trying to get like funding, especially with higher limit credit cards and stuff like that, then you want to look at your tier 2 and tier 3 financial institutions. All right, and I have talked about that in other videos, in which I'll be making more videos talking about it. Now, again, because this has a 0% intro for 15 months on purchases and balance transfers, This is the credit card you want, especially if you need to do a balance transfer and you're pretty much maxed out. Now, one of the key things I would tell you when you're trying to get a credit card from Chase, well, actually, one is that when you're adding accounts onto the file. So if you add authorized users, and by the way, for those of you that need help with boosting your credit score, need authorized users, click the link in the description and schedule one-on-one, and I'll tell you which authorized user you should be adding to your credit file. That's number one. So they don't count authorized users. They will not count utility bills, all right? They will not count rental payments, all right? And I'm gonna tell you why in a minute. And they will not count subscriptions. And here's the reason why. Those are credit enhanced boosters. And by Chase being a FICO 8 scoring system, that's what they use. Now, the interesting thing about Chase, they will give you a Vantage scoring system through CreditWise, right? But CreditWise is Vantage 3 TransUnion. That score that they give you for free, and anybody can get it with Chase, right? So anybody can get it from Chase. But at the same time, that's a Vantage scoring system. That's not your FICO 8 scoring system that they will pull from. Now, if you are just becoming a new member of Chase, more likely they're going to do 2 hard inquiries, okay? They're going to do one for the Experian credit file, FICO 8, and as one as the TransUnion FICO 8, okay? So that you have an understanding of that. Now, here's another interesting thing about it, the 524 rule. Now, with the 524 rule, I made a video on that as well. Now, with the 524, meaning that you cannot have 5 open revolving accounts within a 24-month period. So, if you have, like, say that you have, like, American Express, U.S. Bank, Bank of America, Navy Federal, PenFed, and you have all 5 of those credit cards you recently opened in the past 24 months, okay? They will count that against you. Now, say that you have 2 of those as authorized users and you get denied a Chase card, then what you could do is call them up and say, hey, these 2 accounts here are authorized users, so they won't calculate that in, but you have to give them a call, or say that you got a loan or a line of credit. So you have to give them a call so they won't count that as a 524 against you. And then that would help you qualify as well. Now, for those of you, and one of the key things about it is I'm always talking about going to Chase for business funding. That being said, we're going to hop over to the business funding side of it. Now, looking at this here chart here, you have your Chase Inc. Business Premier, your Chase Inc. Business Unlimited, your Chase Inc. Business Cash, as well as your Chase Inc. Business Preferred. For those of you that's getting any value out of this video, would you give me a thumbs up, a comment, let me know if this is helpful for you, especially when trying to go in with Chase getting funding. Now, on the personal side or business side. That being said, again, one of the things that we always tell you to do, you want to look for the credit card that charges 0 interest on balance transfers, okay? And so that one would be this here Chase here, right? You have 2 of them that offer that. And those cards are your Chase Business Cash and your Chase Business Unlimited, all right? Now, your 2 easiest business credit cards, you want to go with Chase. If you have at least a 650 and you had over a year of a relationship with Chase and you haven't had any derogatory insufficient funds with Chase for over a year, all right, these are the easiest credit cards to go for, the Chase Inc. Business Cash and the Chase Inc. Business Preferred. Now, like I said, the Chase Inc. Business Cash would be the one that I would go for because it offers 0% interest on purchases, okay? That's what I want. I like to save money, all right? Now, here's another thing, understanding why Chase. Here's the reason why I like Chase. And again, they are a tier one, but one of the factors that you do have to have, especially if you are in business, you need to have what I call is a gatekeeper. And the reason I call them a gatekeeper, because these are the financial institutions that actually report to the Business Credit Bureau. Now with Chase, they report to Experian Business, Equifax Business, Small Business Financial Exchange, and that information is shared with Dun and Bradstreet. Now, you do not need a DUNS number. You do not need a PAYDEX score. You do not need net 30s in order to get access to these business credit cards. Now, for Chase on the business side, they do look at your Experian Business. However, you can actually get this business credit card without actually having a business. All right. Now, one of the things that I would tell you, if you're trying to get the maximum amount of funding, then I would definitely encourage you to structure a business. All right. Now, here's the thing about it in reference to structuring the business, because if you're trying to get the maximum amount of funding, you need to choose the right business structure. If you need help with that or understanding the right business structure, also another key element to this is the right NAICS code. Okay, that determines if you are a high risk business. Okay, so if you're a high risk business, not saying it's impossible, but it definitely can make it more challenging for you to get business funding. Most of the time, it's usually like with the business loans and business lines of credit, they're a little more flexible when it comes to business credit cards, okay? But the business loans and business lines of credit, those can be more challenging, all right? Now, for those of you that may need help with structuring your business or trying to get access to business credit funding, whether it's through Chase or any other financial institution, or you're trying to remove negative items off your personal credit, or just trying to get personal credit funding, click the link in the description. Schedule a one-on-one consultation. Thank you.